The city of London in late autumn was ablaze with the vibrant reds and golds of tree-lined streets. At night, the street lamps faintly illuminated the intersection of two roads in Kensington, the place where historic buildings blended with elegant mansions and trendy bars favored by high society. At a cozy restaurant on Earl's Court Street, Alexander Bennett, 30-year-old entrepreneur and CEO of a green technology corporation, lifted his glass of red wine in a toast to his business partners. Despite his professional success, he bore the weight of expectations from his parents. Margaret and William Bennett hoped he would soon settle down with a compliant bride, but Alexander insisted on choosing his own path in love. After nearly 3 hours, the dinner ended. When the clock struck past midnight, he waved farewell and rushed out into the chill night. Failing to hail a taxi, he murmured, "Just a few minutes," and sped away in his BMW Series 5. At the corner of Earl's Court Road, he raced past the painted crosswalk, adrenaline pumping as the speedometer climbed above 60 miles per hour. He barely registered the traffic light turning red. Officer Emily Clark, 26, traffic police, was on her final shift near West London. A public safety graduate from Metropolitan University and a former track athlete, she was resolute and independent, having grown up with her father in Chelmsford before returning to London for work. Emily believed firmly that the law must be upheld, no exceptions. She spotted the black BMW speeding and blew her whistle. The car screeched to a halt as she approached, lowering her window with a stern expression. "License and registration, please." Alexander frowned but complied, handing over the documents. Emily typed up the citation and placed it on his windshield. "You ran a red light and exceeded the speed limit. Please come to the station tomorrow to pay the fine." He nodded, muttering to himself, and drove back to his Notting Hill home in the hush of the night. The next day, after a crucial meeting with French investors, Alexander's assistant reminded him about the traffic ticket. He recalled Emily's calm, determined gaze. There was something different about her, he thought. A week later, on the A40, James Carter, Alexander's best friend, was pulled over in his Mercedes convertible for driving 50 miles per hour in a 30 zone. To James's dismay, Officer Clark was again on duty and began filling out a citation. Confused, James protested, "I don't know who you are, but..." Suddenly, Alexander appeared at the passenger side window, smiling. "Emily, don't be too hard on him." Emily looked up in surprise. "Mr. Bennett? You were ticketed last week." James breathed a sigh of relief and thanked Alexander. From that moment, on the open highway, they met again, fate intertwining their lives. In the following weeks, they ran into each other at bus stops, downtown parking lots, even at a charity gala hosted by the Borough Council. Each encounter sparked teasing arguments, Alexander claiming, traffic laws should be flexible, and Emily countering, safety comes first. One late night after her shift, Emily was harassed by a group of drunken youths at the train station. By chance, Alexander arrived and intervened, escorting her to safety. Under the flickering station lights and damp air, that moment etched itself into their memories. Walking Emily back to the precinct, he said softly, "Stay safe tonight, Emily." She managed a tired smile. "Thank you, and good night." The invisible wall between them began to crumble. The following morning, Emily received a call reporting a collision between a truck and a sedan at a junction. She and her team rushed to the scene, where they found Alexander waiting anxiously. "Mr. Bennett? Why are you here?" Emily asked. "I came to provide a statement for last night's incident. I heard James was hurt. Did you manage to finish your meeting?" Alexander replied. Emily nodded, her tension easing. "Thank you for coming." Working together, Alexander supplied security footage while Emily conducted interviews. Amid the chaos, their teamwork shone, and unspoken understanding passed between them. That evening, beneath the glow of the London Bridge sunset, Alexander invited her for coffee. "Thank you for looking after James." Emily hesitated, then smiled. "All right." They strolled along the Thames, sharing stories of work and personal dreams. For the first time, Alexander spoke of family pressures, and Emily confided her loneliness with her father away on business. The next weekend, Alexander visited Emily at her traffic post, bringing homemade cookies and a business handbook. "For you," he said, bashfully. Emily teased. "I thought you knew I don't like sweets." Alexander chuckled. "I still wanted you to try them." Amid the hum of sirens and the glow of signal lights, they shared a quiet moment, their hearts beating in unison. Suddenly, a nearby alarm blared. Together, they assisted in a minor accident, moving with practiced coordination. When the scene was under control, Emily sat on the curb, wiping sweat from her brow. "Thank you for being there." Alexander replied gently. "You don't always need a protector. You're strong." She looked at him warmly. "But sometimes, having someone by your side isn't so bad." The following week, Alexander joined Emily at the West London Traffic Office for a community road safety workshop she was leading. He sat in the front row, watching her present confidently. "When we drive, we protect not only ourselves but everyone around us." After the session, Alexander stood to speak. "Thank you, Officer Clark. In my company, we follow similar safety principles." Emily smiled appreciatively. Afterward, they and Emily's colleagues went for lunch. Over grilled salmon and roasted vegetables, recipes Alexander learned from a Gordon Ramsay tutorial, Emily expressed surprise. "I didn't know you could cook." Alexander shrugged. "Only the basics." On a drizzly afternoon, Emily finished her shift and opened her umbrella just as Alexander's Mercedes pulled up beside her at a red light. He rolled down the window. "Take this," he said, handing her a spare umbrella. "Let me drive you home." She hesitated. "Thank you, but I'll catch the bus." He gently took her hand. "I'd like to be your chauffeur today." Inside the warm cabin, rain pattered against the glass. Alexander put on soft music. Through the window, Emily's reflection shimmered in the streetlight. "Why do you keep helping me?" she asked softly. He met her gaze. "Because I want to know you're safe." She looked away, her heart fluttering. At her doorstep, he said quietly, "We're here." Emily smiled. "Thank you, Alexander." The next day, Emily received a video call from her father, Thomas Clark, who was recovering from emergency surgery in Chelmsford. She hurriedly requested leave. Upon hearing the news, Alexander immediately offered to drive her eastward. On the A12, they passed barren winter fields. Emily gazed out anxiously. "Is Dad going to be all right?" His heart rate sounded so fast. "He'll be fine," Alexander assured her. "The doctor said he just needs another week of rest. Everything will be okay." Emily leaned on his shoulder, comforted by his presence. That evening at the hospital, she held her father's hand. "Rest, Dad. Alexander's here with me." Thomas smiled gratefully at Alexander. Back in London, Alexander received a letter from his parents announcing a high society tea party to introduce potential brides. They expected him to become engaged soon. At the Bennett estate in Kensington, Emily was invited as a community partner. When she appeared beside Alexander, Margaret Bennett's expression turned frosty. "Have you introduced anyone to us, Alexander?" she asked. Alexander stood firm. "Mother, I've found someone I want to spend my life with." Emily reached for his hand. Margaret eyed her coolly. "Tell me more about yourself, Miss Clark." Alexander swallowed and took her hand. "Mother, this is Emily Clark, my girlfriend. She's a dedicated traffic officer committed to community safety. I hope you'll welcome her." Emily smiled politely. "It's a pleasure to meet you." Margaret studied her for a moment, then nodded in approval. An awkward silence preceded the tea party's entertainment, a piano performance in the drawing room. As soft music filled the room and the chandelier sparkled overhead, Emily and Alexander shared a slow dance. Each step was a testament to the journey they'd taken together. Margaret approached and handed Emily a box of premium tea leaves. "Miss Clark, I apologize for my earlier rigidity. I've reviewed your commendations and respect your work." Emily's eyes misted. "Thank you, Mrs. Bennet." Alexander squeezed his mother's hand. "Thank you, Mother." A new beginning for their blended families. Weeks later, Emily was reassigned to the traffic training division. She spearheaded a campaign titled "Safety is Everyone's Responsibility," sponsored by Alexander's company, Green Tech. The project was a resounding success, with press coverage highlighting their partnership. One evening, beneath the warm glow of Big Ben's tower, Alexander took Emily's hand and knelt, revealing a ring. "Emily Clark, will you marry me?" Tears filled her eyes. Yes. London's night sky lit up with their joy. The following spring, their wedding was held at a quaint chateau in the Surrey countryside. Cherry blossoms and roses bloomed, and guests showered them with blessings. Alexander, in a sleek black tuxedo, and Emily, in a pristine white gown, walked down a rose-petal-strewn aisle. The Westminster Abbey bells told as both families united for the first time. Margaret and William Bennet embraced Emily, proud tears in their eyes. Thomas Clark gave his daughter away with a warm blessing. "May you be happy with Alexander." At the reception, their story played in a slideshow, from that fateful red light stop to the Big Ben proposal. Laughter filled the hall as guests watched Alexander endure every traffic reprimand to be by Emily's side. Now husband and wife, they co-founded the Clark Bennett Community Foundation to train new officers, distribute helmets to children, and improve rural road safety. 5 years later, they had 2 children, Sophie and Liam. Emily became head of traffic training, while Alexander expanded green tech into safe electric vehicles. They often involved their children in community events, teaching them the importance of safety and service. On the balcony of their riverside home overlooking the Thames at sunset, Alexander wrapped his arm around Emily. "Are you happy?" he asked softly. Resting her head on his shoulder, she smiled. "I'm very happy. And I know our future will be even brighter." They gazed toward the horizon, where the setting sun promised new beginnings.